morning, everyone. It's so good to see you and in the flesh and so much of you. Wow. And online, loving you with my eyes. Very happy to see you. Thank you. Good to be here. And the global theme, because we're doing the national global themes from the mothership, we're following along, and it's kind of nice because it goes along with your Science of Mind magazine, and it's just this rich experience to have it all in alignment. And the theme for this week just happens to be busting fear. Wow, right, was that just perfect timing, even though they planned it how many moons ago, and this is exactly what we need to talk about now, or I'll just say this is exactly what I need to talk about now, because I found myself this week, now that the governor has lifted the mask mandate, here I am in the grocery store still holding on to my mask in my hand like a little blankie, and just feeling, do I put it on? Do I not? I'll put it in my pocket, and I'll just kind of look and see how I feel. And then I kept it in my pocket, and I pushed in my grocery cart, and I realized about halfway through the store, I don't think I was even breathing. I just was all, okay. I need to calm down and just take a moment to breathe and get myself centered and just look at, like, what am I afraid of in this moment? And also to think that, we've been living through these COVID times where it wasn't an exaggeration to say that someone could breathe on me and that literally could cause my death. I'm sorry, that's scary. I'm just going to say that, that would make me afraid. And I don't want to be dismissive of a lot of the fears that a lot of us might be experiencing right now. And, the global events that are happening right now, it can be really scary. There's a lot of fears that are coming forth in this moment. And all of that is stacked on top of the good old B-flat average fears that typical humans have. Ole! So, yeah, it could be like a 24-car pileup of fear right now. And I was trying to think about, well, what things are people typically afraid of? And I think it comes down to about 3 different categories. For me, it comes down to either fear that I'm not good enough, all the unworthiness and enoughness fears that come up. It could be fear that I'm missing out. Like, I made the wrong choice. I didn't take the right action. It's all the woulda, coulda, shouldas. And the third fear is of the worst case scenario, catastrophizing, the million what ifs that our brains are amazing at creating because we are so creative. So not good enough, missing out, fear of the worst that can happen. Fear comes up a lot, even if we don't want to call it that. These thoughts tend to come up a lot. So let's just explore this and try to think through this. How do we get to, let's say, the flip side of that fear? So when you think of fear, what would be the opposite for you? Do certain words come to mind? You can just shout them out. The opposite of fear is love, faith, oneness, joy, trust. And in Science of Mind, oftentimes Ernest Holmes will be the first one to say that the opposite of fear is faith. Like to move from fear to faith. In fact, there's chapters on it and pages and paragraphs about moving from fear to faith. But here's the trick. When I'm having a really tender experience and I'm in fear or anxiety, doubt, worry, whatever that experience is, if someone is trying to talk to me and they just say to me, just have faith. I'm sorry, that is not helpful for me. It's just not. It actually makes me upset and irritated because it feels like an empty platitude when people say, have faith. It just sort of whitewashes over or intellectualizes this personal experience and what my needs might be in that moment. It's like, well, I just want to have a spiritual bypass now so we can shortcut the discomfort and we can just get to the end point where you feel better and then I know how to talk to you because I don't want to be in this discomfort with you. I'm just going to slap a Band-Aid on it like, just have faith. Oh, ow, ow, ow. I need help processing. I don't have a magical faith button yet. I'm not a faithy kind of person. I wish I were, but I'm just going to be honest. I'm not. So for me, it may feel like a dismissal of my experience. Not experience. Or the guilt trip. Like, well, if you're telling me to have faith, does that mean I don't have faith? And if I were a better practitioner, like I'm not very good if I'm a practitioner and I don't even have faith, like I just have fear. Ooh, ow. Yeah, it gets a little crunchy inside there. So I really want to think about, well, just in my humble opinion, I'm very human, and fear is a really natural byproduct of being alive, I think. And so I think when I am experiencing fear, I need some time or a safe place to just explore, to learn, to see what my options are, to do something different perhaps, or help me to expand or grow in this moment. So for me, the flip side of fear is actually vision. If I can see beyond the immediate view or the appearances, what seems to be going on, and you've probably heard the acronym of FEAR, false evidence appearing real. Yeah, so, okay, if it's false evidence appearing real, that helps me to know that when I'm afraid, it's because I am not seeing the whole picture. So then I don't know how to navigate if I can't see the whole picture. It's like when you were first learning to drive a car or steer a bike. Did you ever make that classic mistake where you look down really, really close to the car or the tire of your bike and then, whoa, it doesn't work, right? The whole you just fall over. You can't. And I know I have to lift my chin up and I have to look where I'm going, not straight down. And that doesn't mean I lose situational awareness. I'm still aware of what's going on. I'm not pretending that all this isn't here, but I do need to look a little further out. Because then if I look a little further out, even if I'm still full of fear or concern or worry, whatever it is, I still can do the thing. I still can meet the person. I can face the event because my vision is greater than the fear I may be experiencing in this moment. And I think about examples like the civil rights movement. You know that in 1960, there were over 3,000 arrests alone, just in that 1 year, for the sit-ins and the protesters and the things that folks did. I can't even imagine what that had to have been like, being arrested and the harassment and the physical violence and the personal anguish and terror that people experienced. But they had a vision, and it was so clearly expressed by Martin Luther King Jr. and a variety of amazing leaders. So the sit-in protesters and the freedom fighters, they could see beyond the initial fear and take steps towards that vision and have a powerful impact in the end. So as Martin Luther King Jr. said, courage is the power of the mind to overcome fear. While we must accept finite disappointment, we must never lose infinite hope. And it's that infinite hope, I would make it a capital I, it's that infinite hope where the vision lies. So if I can remember when I'm in the weeds of fear, that I open up and take a larger, more strategic view of what's going on. Or to get all Brene Brown with you, she talks about, are you on the dance floor or are you in the balcony? When you're on the dance floor, you can get a lot done and it's beautiful and that's great, but sometimes you can't see the whole picture. So you need to get to the balcony. Well, when someone says to me, well, just have faith, that's like saying, just jump up to the balcony. I can't jump to the balcony from the dance floor. I just can't. So how do I get from the dance floor, being in the weeds, up to the balcony to get the bigger view? Well, I need to take the stairs. There's always a staircase to get to the balcony. So I've got 4 steps for us in that balcony. And let's see, to get to the balcony. So let's see if this helps out. If you're feeling any kind of anxiety, worry, concern, something that's really stressful right now, and if I don't feel like I have faith in it, there's a couple of just really practical things I can do to get up to the balcony to see. So the first thing that we can do when we're feeling concern, fear, worry, anxiety is to just name it. Turn on the lights and see, what am I really afraid of? Is it one of the top 3? Is it that I'm not good enough? Is it that I'm missing out or might make the wrong choice? Is it the fear of the worst thing happening? Like, what is it? Can I name it so I understand what I'm even looking at? So to give a simple example, some of you may not know this, but when it comes to playing piano in public, I actually have really big performance anxiety. And it's much, much better now, thanks to all you all. But when I would get asked to teach at Hummingbird Music Camp up in the Jemez, it's a beautiful music camp for youth, and I would get asked to teach piano and voice. And so with the brand new baby beginners and the private little lab, like, yeah, it's great. We have a fantastic time together. Love it. Love every second of it. It's just amazing. But sometimes as one of the camp piano players, they ask me to be the piano player for the professional faculty, the people who have their masters in music, their doctorate in music, like when there's the recital and I'm the accompanist for them. Or there's a whole camp choir, like 200 kids that are going to sing. And then on Sunday, there's this huge recital where the parents come on up and then they see the recital. So there's hundreds of people watching this huge concert. And the kids are singing, and it's all based on one instrument. The piano player, I'm like, oh my word. And it's terrifying. So if I unpack it and I think, okay, I have to name it. What am I afraid of? Okay, I'm afraid of I'm not good enough. I don't measure up to these people who have their degrees in music or they've been playing for more years than I've been alive. And I can't, oh my gosh, who am I to be doing this? And I'm not good enough. I can't pull this off. And the other fear is the worst case scenario. We're going to be at this recital, and the kids are going to be grooving, and the parents are going to be taking videos, and it's just going to be amazing, and I'm going to totally blow it. I'm going to tank the song so bad that the whole thing is going to fall apart. The song's just going to stop, and everyone's going to be embarrassed, and it's going to be my fault. Oh, I can go there. So, but if I just named it. That's what I'm afraid of. Okay, but the second step after name it is to look beyond. Okay, if I look beyond, what's the big picture here? What's on the other side of my fear? Well, the other side of it is I love making music. It's so precious. And to make music with children is amazing. And to have this huge concert experience, that's something greater than anything I could have done by myself. And to hold, how I love to hold the sacred space for us to co-create music together. I live for that. It's amazing. It's beautiful. And then if these youth can have this magnificent experience, who knows what that sets off in their lives for years and decades and generations to come. Okay, That's a good big picture. I can see that beyond. So the next thing for me to do after I've named it and I've looked beyond, step number 3, I need to take action. Even if it's just baby steps, I need to start stepping towards that vision so I can ultimately face my fears. So I practiced every single day. It's only a 7-day camp, and you get the music on, day 1 or 2, and that's it. You've got to learn it in that amount of time. Go. So I practiced like a beast. I asked questions. I did everything I could to make sure I could play this music. I gave it my best. I also engaged in positive self-talk to be, instead of having the critical parent in my head, I had the cool auntie in my head. Do you have a cool aunt who's like, you got this and you can do it and I believe in you and you're going to have so much fun and just keep going, and people make mistakes all the time and the song doesn't train wreck. You're okay. Just keep going, all that. So I had the cool auntie in my head, and then also I didn't run away from the opportunity. I could have put it on someone else, but I was like, no, I can do this. Yes, I will be the piano player for the camp this week. Okay. So then when all is said and done, step number 4 is to reflect back on it. So what happened in the end? And you know the phrase that if it doesn't, it'll all work out in the end. And if it hasn't worked out yet, it's not the end. Right. So in the end, I looked back on it and I was like, we had a great concert, and it was beautiful. And my fear actually gave me heightened awareness to be super vigilant and to play my best and to give my A game. And I could channel that into a great performance. And there were a few little mistakes. Nobody noticed. The kids had a great time. The parents had a great time. And then I'm learning that I can do this. So I reflect. What does this show me? So name it. Look beyond. Take some actions, and then reflect, because it's this process, those steps, that help me to have faith, not just to say have faith. I can have faith in myself, in others, and in life because now I have evidence, not just blind faith. I have evidence that feeds my faith. And then I could apply it to other situations, like being up here and speaking to you. It transfers. It works. Or as Ram Dass would say, we gain internal freedom through external actions. Or to think about the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living right now. This could be a really scary time. Not only, our senior minister, our founding minister retiring, and then it's COVID, and then we're open, and then we're closed, and then we're open, and then we're closed. And then, like any small church or nonprofit is very concerned about staying open and the financials and what's the long game here and how many people are attending and all the concerns and worries that come up. Absolutely. Just naming that. Yeah. But here's the cool thing. There is a vision here. And you were part of creating that. Remember when you did the co-creation process and came up with the sacred covenant that we read every week? There is a vision here. You can see the long game. You can see beyond. And there are action steps being taken right now. Think of all the people in this community who have stepped up to do all the different things that need to be done, and things are going really well. And think of the ministerial search committee that's rocking the process, and think about the board that's completely amazing, and the practitioners and the outreach ministry and our chaplains, and the ushers that showed up, and the social hall is gorgeous right now. Y'all should see it. And the tech crew, it's all happening. These steps, the action steps are happening. So even though we're not at the end yet, we can't quite reflect back on it, maybe we could extend a little bit of faith from here to know that the end of this process is near. And we have evidence by what we're already seeing here that we're doing great. And that we've all learned and grown so much through this little adventure, myself included. So from one of my favorite authors, Judy Bloom, she says, if I may, Each of us must confront our own fears. We must come face to face with them. How we handled our fears will determine where we go the rest of our lives, to experience adventure or to be limited by the fear of it. So this is how we conquer fear over and over again, by stepping into the adventure of it, like strategic exposure therapy, or what we would call spiritual practice. Okay. And it expands our capacity to handle the fear, to increase our stamina for uncomfortable situations, and to plant the seeds of faith that will grow as we grow. So there's no need for a wild leap of faith. For me, that wild leap of faith just exacerbates the fear I'm already experiencing and can be worse than the original fear. I'm just saying. So for me, I love connecting with the flip side of fear, which is vision, seeing beyond appearances. And then I can see into the ultimate reality. Because in the ultimate reality, when I have that kind of vision, then we're always good enough. We never miss out or make the wrong choice. And the best always happens. That's the place where I would like to live. But it takes some practice. And we can support each other in that practice, to name our fears together, to develop our vision together, to take action together, to reflect back to each other our experience, to process. And when we feel like we can't, we still can lean in to each other when things get scary, and to remember the truth for each other. That's the bounty of spiritual community together. We can be the light in the darkness for each other. We can be the light on the staircase going from fear to faith, because we know that there's nothing to fear once we can see. Namaste. So we're going to do our prayer time now. And for our prayer time, we're going to do kind of a mini meditation prayer combo package, because I can do that. So right now, let's take a nice deep breath in and center into that stillness. And just do a quick survey in your life where you might be experiencing any kind of fear, worry, doubt, constraint, just something that needs a little attention right now. Just one thing. And know that in the safety of this room, in the safety of your heart, that the arms of the divine are wrapped around you right now, and it's completely safe to explore this concept. So bring forth whatever this thing is that you would like some attention on this morning. A fear you might be experiencing, a worry, a concern. And let's do that. Step number 1, to just name it. Turn on the light and see, what is it that you're really afraid of, or what is your concern here? Is it unworthiness? Is it making the wrong choice? Is it fear of the worst happening? Is it something else? Just take a moment to name it. What is the concern? And holding that concern in the light and love of the divine, let's lift our chin a little and look beyond. What is Spirit's highest vision for this experience, this person, this moment, this situation? Just open up a little bit to see what's on the other side of it. holding on to this vision that's coming forth, just visualize some action steps. What might be a little step forward, even a baby step forward toward that vision? Or what's the next right step, even just one, for right now in this situation or with this person or whatever this concern is? One next right step. And even though we're not in the end yet, we're still mid-process, instead of reflecting back, let's project forward a little bit. What would you like to feel in the end? What God quality would be really wonderful as this thing resolves? And focus on that feeling. And holding on to all of this information of the steps in your staircase to move from fear to faith, from what seems like chaos to divine resolution. Let's hold on to what we named, to the vision, to the action step, to the God qualities we would like to experience. And knowing that each person here has access to the infinite warehouse of possibilities and the absolute support of the loving universe. I know that each person is divinely guided and blessed as this process unfolds in divine right order for each person in whatever way it needs to be. Whatever wishes to emerge in this moment is an expression of the divine. Whatever is to be learned, experienced, felt, loved, or hated, whatever it is, whether it's chaos, whether it's peace, whether it's sunny days or cloudy days, that all of that is the divine just waiting to be recognized. And so knowing that each person has the capacity to name it, to look beyond, to take actions, and to sit in the divine of this moment. I am so grateful. I'm grateful for each person's capacity and deepened capacity that comes about because of this experience we call life, of this amazing training school we're in right now. And I'm also grateful to be able to surrender my fear or surrender having to have all the answers. I'm grateful to be able to look beyond. I'm grateful to choose action, to choose qualities of the divine, and to be able to piece it together and have a different experience. I'm so grateful to be able to deepen my faith. And I'm grateful for this spiritual community where we have a safe place to do the work together. And so knowing that I am divinely guided and blessed, you are divinely guided and blessed, and that the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living is divinely guided and blessed. I take this whole huge prayer, everything that was said, and even the things that were unspoken in the corners of our hearts and minds, the Great Spirit knows. So I take it all and launch it out into the divine, knowing that God is always on the job, whether I can see it or not. And so I sit in the peace of knowing that it is all done. And please join me in saying, and so it is. Amen.